morning and welcome to Crack the Mic podcast with Agent of Change, DeCorey Davis. And this week's segment is entitled Surviving Childhood Traumas. It's been said that trauma is perhaps the most avoided, ignored, belittled, denied, misunderstood, and untreated cause for human suffering. And I couldn't agree more, but when we compile adverse childhood experiences onto this very complicated issue, it becomes even more complex. In fact, according to the National Survey of Children's Health, around 1 in 3 children in the United States report experiencing at least one adverse childhood experience in their lifetime, consequently making the issue that much more compelling. And to help me further this discussion, I have a very interesting panel that includes Dr. Keon S. Payton, President and CEO of the Institute of Trauma and Economic Justice, and I have a very interesting guest here to share her personal story from grim to triumph, Miss Barbara Ann Falk. Good morning. On what seemed to be a day of fun and excitement, ultimately ended up being a life lesson that would change the direction of Barbara Ann Falk's life forever. While heading out to a party with her siblings, she was kidnapped at the bus stop by 2 black male adults who abducted her at gunpoint and drove her to a wooded area where they raped and attempted to take her life before she was able to escape through a broken window in an abandoned house. Luckily, after running away, she knocked on a door, but was quickly turned away by racist remarks from the homeowner, who thought it was just a hoax. Nonetheless, as she continued to run further, she eventually ended up at a house where the police were called and the incident was reported. Good morning, Miss Barbara Ann Falk.
Good morning.
Okay. All right, so if you can paint a vivid picture in the mind of the listener of that awful day and what it was like for you.
It was like a true nightmare.
Wow.
How it started is my sister and I was going to a party, and it was over town, down in Miami, over town area. And then again, the bus had came, and instead of them waiting for me, they jumped on the bus and didn't say, wait.
Wow.
While the sister is back there, she's coming. They had got on the bus driver pulled off. So they left me where I came from the patio and walked across the street where the bus was and waited for the bus. So as I was waiting for the bus, there's a car came up. So I got a little frantic then, but I wasn't sure. And then they asked me did I need a ride, and I said no.
Wow.
And then the next thing I knew is that they had like showed the gun. And then again, I'm like, oh my God, no. And then they told me to get in. And they took me somewhere over there by the airport.
Wow, so they literally kidnapped you, forced you at gunpoint into the car. So I want to ask you, if I can, in that moment while you were sitting in the car, because I can imagine that your emotions were like a roller coaster all over the place. Did you feel like you were gonna die at some point when that happened?
When that happened, I was just thinking about why would my brother and sister have done that, left me, and my mama had put me for them to protect me,
Wow.
to go to the party with them,
Wow.
but it didn't happen that way.
Wow. Wow. So you said they kidnapped you and they took you to a remote location, somewhere you had absolutely no knowledge of. And so in that car while you were driving, what was that ride like? What was that ride like?
Well, the ride was like, Lord, what's going on? Because I didn't know what was going on. And when it came to the point that they took me to a wooded area by the airport, and it was nothing but woods. At the National Miami Airport was nothing but woods.
Okay, so let me ask you, Miss Falk, at any moment during the abduction, in that car, that ride, that dreadful ride, at any moment did you think that this would be the end of your life?
While I was in the car, I had all kind of things going on in my head.
Wow.
Why me, Lord? What is going on? I'm confused. I just come to go to a party. They left me. I'm talking to God. And then again, they said the other one got out the car. He took me and put me in the back seat, and he got in the back seat, and the other one drove. But the thing is that I kept asking them, what are y'all doing? Why are y'all doing this? What have I done to y'all? Y'all don't know me. I don't know y'all. What's going on? And then they told me to shut up. And then I just kept quiet. Then we got to the a wooded area. It was nearby the Miami Airport, International Airport. Because at that time it was nothing but woods.
Right.
And it was like two houses. We pulled up to the abandoned house, and then again, they took me inside. So what happened afterwards is that it was like a raggedy shack. It's just a house, but a raggedy one. And then again, the first guy said, not the driver, the one that was in the back seat with me, he said that, what are we going to do? So I'm started crying. And then again, when I started crying, he said, don't worry. I believe for myself that was the good guy, which he was the good guy. But the other one, he was the bad guy, and the driver. And he said, we're going to come and do what we planned to do. So what they was planning to do, I had got it, because they had took me into the abandoned house. They took my clothes off. They start, getting drunk. They was drinking, getting high. They was high. And then they start to talking to me, and I'm study crying. Why are y'all doing this to me? I don't even know y'all. What happened? What is going on? I say, I have family. And I say, my sister and my brother left me. And why me? I'm not saying like somebody else, but I'm just at the time in the shock that I'm in. And I say, why me? And then again, the other guy, the strong guy say, well, I'm finna go and get something to drink. I had pleaded with them.
Okay.
I'd say, please let me go. I have not did nothing to you guys. Why are y'all doing this to me?
Right.
Why? Please don't do this. And then the strongest guy say, you know what we have to do, to the other guy. Say, she can't be here. So he say, I'm going into the find a store, and go find something we can drink, I guess that was for them to do what they needed to do to me. And then again,
And what do you think that do to you? You're 14 years old. What do you think that meant they had to do what they had to do?
it's just like I seen them.
Wow.
I seen them, but they never did catch them, and which I never could understand why not. Because I seen them. I had told them much as I can about the color of their eyes, their skin, white, and I had said this to the police officers. But the thing was that when they did what they did to me, they had the stronger guys say, "Well, I'm finna go to the store because we cannot let her live."
Wow.
So then I started pleading, and I was grabbing hold to the one that was left to me, with me. I was saying, please, don't let him do this to me. Don't let him do this. I'm innocent. I don't know what y'all doing. Just do what y'all do to me and just let me go. I won't say nothing to nobody. But he said, I don't know what he got planned. And then that's when he came back, and he was like, getting intoxicated, drinking and stuff. And then again, he said, well, I'm finna go to the restroom and stuff. And then he went out the door and he came back in. So he left the weak one in there. And at the time when he left him in there, I had a talk to him. I say, I don't know how old you are, I don't know what, but I'm a child. I said,
Wow.
I'm a child. I
Wow.
say, I got left, my brother and my sister, my older brother and my older sister, they left me because my mom and daddy went to the dog track, and they say, well, you take Barbara Ann, because they call me Barbara Ann, you take Barbara Ann with you guys. But the bus was coming, and they ran across the street, they got on the bus, and then they tell the bus driver, my sister back there, wait until she come. They didn't do that. The bus pulled off. And as I was waiting for the bus, because I couldn't get in the house because the doors was locked.
Right.
And they had the key, because my oldest brother, God bless him, he had the key. And when they had the key, I couldn't go back home.
Right.
Because I couldn't get inside or nothing.
So, Barbara, you must have been terrified when you overheard the conversation hinting that they had to kill you.
They said that he was going to the store. He was leaving. And then he said to the other one, you know what we have to do? We cannot let her live. So when he did that, he went to the store, and then he left. I say God put the weak one there with me.
Right.
And I was crying. And I was saying, why are you doing this to me? Why are you letting him tell you what to do? I'm sorry, but I'm getting emotional. Why are you letting him do this to me?
Wow.
And then I had a chance to say, I was on the track team and stuff.
Right.
I had a chance to jump out the window naked, butt booty naked, no clothes, no nothing, crying. Oh Lord, please help me. And then when I ran to the house, it was like abandoned house.
Right.
It was abandoned house.
Right.
And then there was no one in there. So I couldn't go to that abandoned house. So my mind told me to keep running. So I ran another mile in the woods. It wasn't number woods over there by the Miami International Airport. One but woods. It wasn't even what it is now today.
Right.
And I'm running through the woods, and then I seen another house. It had lights on it. And then I ran to the porch, and then a white Caucasian man came to the door, and he said, Hun, get a blanket. It's a black girl out here. She's naked and she's crying. He said, get a blanket, Hun. Come out here. Then she came out. Then he told her, go back in the house, Hun, and call the police.
Wow.
So when they went back in the house and they called the police, I sat there and I waited. They, wrapped me up in the blanket and everything. And they asked me what happened. They had took me back to the same house, like a mile run back to it. Because
where you were assaulted at.
Where I was assaulted at, which they seen my clothes and stuff there. because I was butt booty naked.
Wow, must have been terrifying.
It was very terrifying. And then again, if I wasn't like on the track team,
Right.
it could have been worse, you know, because I could have, you know, he could have caught me.
Right, right.
You understand? But the thing is that it wasn't a matter about the track team or whatever, but I'm like, why he did this to me? Why he did this to me? But God had the one to stay there, and I told him, I said, you gonna let him do that to me? Are you gonna really let him do that to me? And I'm innocent? And then he said, I have nothing to say. He didn't have nothing to say. And then when he came back, when he left, and I was out that window.
Wow.
I was out that window,
Wow.
my clothes left behind in the place. I was butt booty naked. And then again, you know, I ran that mile. It was a mile. I ran that mile.
Right.
And then again, I'm getting emotional because it's just like
It's okay.
bringing
It's
it
okay.
back to
It's
me.
okay. It's okay.
And then my siblings, my mom and dad.
I realized that I could use some help with basic everyday tasks, but Hal depends on me, and I'm not going to leave him. I don't have to. Yes, that was good news, wasn't it, Hal?
Immaculate Home Health Care can give you the help you need so you can stay safely and comfortably at home from a few hours a day to round the clock. Call today for your consultation. 561-372-9108. 561-372-9108.
Okay, so the police was called and you were taken home, or you were taken to
the rape center.
The rape center.
At Jackson Hospital.
Okay.
They had a trauma rape center.
Okay.
They took me there.
Okay.
And-
And so after they took you to the rape and they were able to substantiate that a rape had actually occurred,
Yeah.
they took you home to your parents. What was your parents to say about this here? Did they say anything?
Well, my parents, they couldn't say nothing, because the simple fact is that when all this was happening, we were supposed to have been to a party.
Okay, so they were unaware that
And they wasn't unaware
Right.
of what
Okay.
happened.
Okay.
And then again, when we got home, they was wondering why was the policeman there.
Wow.
And then that's when they found out what happened to me. And then my mom said, okay, listen, keep this to us. Nobody.
Wow.
You
Wow.
understand? Because
Wow.
it was night. Nobody, 4 days in the morning. Nobody know about this here. You know?
Right.
But it wasn't true. Nobody knew about it.
Right.
Because my older sister, she made it upon herself, because the neighbors, 2 twin boys, they
Okay.
neighbors,
Right.
they had one of the twin boys, the smaller, then, you know, one big and one small. The small
Right.
one said, Barbara, you all right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I'm figuring more or less nobody know.
No one knew because your
But
mother said that
my-
no one, right,
yeah,
supposed
don't
to know
tell
about this.
nobody.
Right.
But my older sister, she took it upon herself. She let them know what was going on.
So let me ask you, how did you feel? Because this had taken place obviously on the weekend.
Yes.
And so Monday, I'm assuming you guys were going to school. And while you getting up, or just tell us, how did the neighbors know? How did
The neighbors know because of my sister,
Wow.
my older sister. My mom said, keep this under the family. And she took it upon herself. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't like her for this day on.
Wow. Wow.
I don't really have no relationship with my sister.
Right.
Because it still holds inside of me.
Right.
And then again, she's still the same. You could tell her something, it's just like you telling her to go ahead and tell her the next
Right,
day.
right,
You
right,
understand
right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
And she's still the same right today. And then again, people wonder why I don't like her. Because I tell them, I don't care for her, I don't like her.
Right.
But I don't tell them why, because them the ones that don't know why.
Wow.
That we, you know,
Wow.
them the
Wow.
ones don't know why.
So it's
But
like a family secret that.
it's supposed to have been a family,
Family
secret,
secret,
but
okay.
it wasn't a family secret because she couldn't wait until morning came completely because I was supposed to be going to school.
Right.
Because the weekend,
Right.
I was supposed to be going to school that Monday.
That Monday morning.
But I
Right.
couldn't go to school that Monday morning because what had to happen during the weekend that I got
Right.
molested and everything,
Right.
raped and everything.
Right.
But the thing is, my mom said, don't tell no one about Barbara Ann, because that's what they call me, Barbara Ann. They don't call me Barbara, they call me Barbara Ann. Say,
Right.
don't tell no one about Barbara Ann, just keep this in the family.
So let me ask you, Miss Barbara. So, because I do know that sibling rivalry is a common thing. You know, brothers and sisters, they have their problems. And I heard you say something that was very concerning. So you said that you guys aren't on speaking terms, or the relationship is not as intact as it should be. But let me say this here because it's important, and I want to put this out. Betrayal is something that is so serious, and I'm assuming that you felt the betrayal, but the fact that it came from someone who you really love, your sister. So do you think that in some ways made you feel, because I'm trying to wrap my head around this here, did you feel like you were the black sheep of the family?
I always felt like I was the black sheep, and I still do today.
Why is
I always felt that way. Even since today, I feel the same way. My father's gone, and he the only one that stood by my side because he understood me, because I had a learning problem, but he had it too when he was growing up. And then again, for her to be smart as she was, guess what? Barbara was the one that ain't going to graduate. Barbara's the one that's not going to be nothing. Barbara's the one. And guess what? I'm that one. I'm that one. God came into my life for a reason, because I was put in a classroom in a hallway at Edison Park.
Okay,
where they had the special ed children.
Let's pause. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back.
I realized that I could use some help with basic everyday tasks, but Hal depends on me, and I'm not going to leave him. I don't have to. Yes, that was good news, wasn't it, Hal?
Immaculate Home Health Care can give you the help you need so you can stay safely and comfortably at home from a few hours a day to round the clock. Call today for your consultation. 561-372-9108. 561-372-9108.
Okay, my daddy, he was what they call illiterate. He didn't know how to read. He didn't know how to write. He didn't know none of them stuff. But by you looking at him, he was a truck driver. He provided for the family. And it's just like, people did not need to know that, because he would never show that.
Wow.
You would think he was very educated, everything, but my father was not at all.
Wow.
And then again, I used to get like, oh, you're just like Dad, you don't know nothing and stuff like that, you understand? But it's not that. It's just that I had a close relationship with my daddy because I know what I was going through
Right.
with my siblings, and that one particular sibling, my older sister. But the thing is, like, ever since she did what she did to me, my mom said, don't tell no one, don't tell. She couldn't wait. She couldn't wait. My mom never kept me from going to school until everything, to the detective. They had to come to the house. They had to ask me questions. Then they took me down there to the station and they asked me questions, I guess, to see what things was going to change. What things did not change. It was still the same. And then again, what really tore me apart is like when I was getting out the car, the neighbor, the twin, one of the twins, the small one, because it was a big one and a small one, the small one say, Barbara, you all right? And I'm like, what you mean if I'm all right? You know,
Right.
Because nobody was supposed to know.
Right.
And then come to find out, she hadn't told me.
So you felt in that moment that your trust had been
From my sister.
from your sister, and and I could admit that sometimes hurt can be different when it comes from a distance, But when it's close
Rest
in
there
your
in the
house,
in the
it is
house.
actually something. Now, I want to say something because I heard you mention something. And it seemed as though you attributed this to you being the black sheep of the family.
I attribute it to me being the black sheep of the family because when my daddy wasn't around, I was treated like a maid.
Wow.
I had to clean up. I had to cook. I did
Wow.
everything for the family. And
But
then,
let me ask you, why do you think that was so?
I think that was so because of my sisters. She didn't know how to cook, but she was the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom and my daddy did long distance truck driving.
Right.
And he stayed out of town a lot to provide for the family. And my mother, she was a maid.
Right.
You understand? And then again, she had to do her part as being a mother to us. But the thing is that my sister, I don't know what it is about my sister, but right today, I don't talk to her.
Right.
And when I see her, I have like some like anger in me.
Right. And
And it
resentment.
should be, a trauma like this here, people don't understand. It never goes away.
Absolutely. And it
It
doesn't.
never goes away. And then again, for you to know that your sister and your brother, my brother, he was a good guy. And then, but it was my sister. Nobody would have known nothing. I probably would have got over it better because it didn't hit the news or nothing. You understand what I'm saying?
And when you say in the
But-
news, you mean syndicated press, like
Right.
news, or just the news to the community,
The news to the community.
which is oftentimes worse.
Yeah, so
right,
it's worse, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that's the way
Right.
I had, because she done did what she did.
Wow. So let me ask you. So now at this moment that you've had this very traumatic experience, is there any reason, or not reason, let me reframe the question. If you had an opportunity to put the blame on anyone, because something as such, you being a 14-year-old child, let me just ask you this question honestly. Do you ever blame God
No.
for that situation? And why not?
No, I do not blame God for that situation. I blame my sister for that situation. Because simple fact, God is not going to hurt his children, regardless of what happened. I wasn't spiritual, but I did go to church.
Okay.
And then again, it wasn't her place to open up them wounds that should have been closed.
Wow.
Left me closure.
Right.
But no, she kept it open.
Right.
And she told one twin, and then when I got up that morning, because they kept me overnight, they combed my side. They did see,
Right.
but they couldn't do no at the time.
Right.
They didn't do all of that when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't, like, I couldn't really describe the guys.
Right.
Because what I was going through. And then again, for me to wake up to it, I'm thinking everything's okay. My daddy and them, the police brought me to the house.
Right.
And they say, do y'all know of Barbara Ann Falk? And they say, yes.
Right.
Okay. When they seen that Barbara wasn't home, questions should have been asked
Then, absolutely.
then
Absolutely.
from my parents.
Right.
Where's Barbara?
Right. Right.
But at the time it wasn't asked. And then when they find out, it's too late.
Wow.
It's too late. I done got raped. They brought me home, and that sister. And people wonder, it takes a lot for me to really try to get closer to her. But it seems like every time I get closer to her, it just take me and pull me back.
Right.
You know, because if she did that to me young, what would she do to it if anything happened to me when I'm older?
So Miss Barbara Ann Falk, if this offers any consolation to you, because I cannot put myself in your shoe, honestly. I cannot imagine a situation, because I was never raped and then betrayed by my loved one, my sibling. But if this could offer you any consolation, because we got to heal. And I hear, and I don't like to be so biblical, but I want to context
it's no healing.
But I want to, let me say this here, if I may, Miss Barbara, because Jesus was asked a question by the disciples. He said, when the disciples asked him, how many times should I forgive my brother when he's done wrong to me? And it wasn't a trick question. Jesus said to the disciples, 77 times 7, which is a heck of a lot of times. So in the greater scheme of the issue of betrayal, because I know it's serious, but I want to ask you, what are you doing? Or because sometimes, and I want to go back to, I said something when I was talking to Dr. Payton in our earlier part, on the first segment, that you cannot, and this is a quote that Paula White actually wrote a book, and I'm going to paraphrase, but it says something to the extent, you cannot conquer what you fail to confront. Now, obviously, the two of you need to have healing, or I would recommend a therapy and some type of arbitration, because there is a repair. I mean, there's a need to repair the breach. There was a breach. Your trust was violated.
There is no healing to me. I would not heal with her.
And why is that, Barbara?
Why is that? Because because she haven't changed. She haven't changed. It's just like she's nitpicky. And then again, when I know what I went through and what she did, all of that could have been avoided.
Right.
But when she took it upon herself to let one of the twins know what happened, nobody would have known, because they brought me in before day in the morning.
Right.
And by them being next door neighbors, they seen the lights, the red lights.
Right.
And they was up.
Right.
You understand? But the thing is that you don't do that.
Absolutely, I could agree. And
I
it does
tried
not
my
excuse,
best.
and let me say this here respectfully, forgiveness does not excuse the person's behavior, because we will encounter infractions from people throughout our lives, but there's a golden rule that says, when the person who forgives free themselves. And I like to, because I blog and I posted this image, and I want to paint this here image in the mind of the listeners. It's kind of like holding on to a rope. You
and
do
can't
more.
let it go.
Yeah, but undoubtedly you do more damage by holding on the rope and not letting it go.
I understand what you're saying. I tried my best to let it go. But how could you let it go when it's still nothing changed between me and my older sister?
It's powerful.
Still nothing changed, because she betrayed me.
Right.
My mama put me in her hand and my older brother's hands, and they should not have left me. They should not jumped on that bus and just left me. They should say, wait, give her enough time. My sister is back there by the patio. It's just like across the street.
Right.
But it didn't happen.
Right.
I'm thinking about, okay, I can't go back home. I can't get in the house.
Right. Understood. So moving forward, I want to ask this question, and I want to change the tides for a moment, if I may. How has this experience, this traumatic experience, changed your life?
It changed my life for the better. I can say this. It changed my life for the better. Because I had to put beside what happened to me, who did it to me,
Oh, wow.
who did what they did to me,
Wow.
which was my sister
And the perpetrators.
and the perpetrator, yes,
Who assaulted you.
them,
Right.
and her. But the thing that really got me was her,
Wow.
because if my parents told my brother, my oldest brother, God bless him, he's dead and gone, and her, don't tell the neighbors nothing. Okay, she seen one neighbor out there, one of the twins out there. She told him. That wasn't for her to tell. And then again, what happened? When I got up for school, it was just like when I got up for school, because I was going to go to school, normally go to school. You all right, Barbara? Everybody in the neighborhood. You all right? You all right? And I'm like, what you mean is I'm all right? I'm trying to throw them off. And then they say, oh, we heard you been raped.
Mhm.
What is that?
Right.
What is that? That wasn't for them to know nothing. That's
Right.
the only thing they could have said. Well, the police was there and that's it.
Right.
But she took it upon herself and she let them know. And what made her think that that small twin wasn't going to tell the neighborhood?
That's right.
Which they
Right.
did.
Right.
Which he did.
Right.
He told his siblings and then it went from there
Right.
and on to the whole neighborhood.
Okay. So moving forward, what are you doing to heal?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this here. My healing is this here. I had gave myself up to God.
Powerful.
I was
Powerful.
going to church.
Right. Right.
I was supposed to be the mentally ill one of the family.
Wow.
I was in that special hallway at Edison Park Elementary.
Wow.
And then again, look at me today.
Right.
Look at me then. I
Right.
graduated from school,
Right.
from high school. I graduated. I didn't mean by me being the situation I was in with my learning, I graduated, okay?
Right.
It took a lot, but I graduated. And then again, when I had graduated, right, I
Right.
had started going to church.
Wow.
I started
Wow.
going to church. I started to let God come into my life because I was going through so much about trying to put that behind. You know,
Right.
like you try to put something behind.
Stuff behind you.
And I started going to church, and I liked the church I was going to. I met this special lady.
Right.
I used to call her Mama,
Wow.
and her name was Mother Nar at the
Okay.
church. Her name was Mother Nar.
Mhm.
And then again, she treated me like a little angel, like I
Wow.
was a little angel
Wow.
to her.
Right.
But she had kids grown and
right.
stuff. But that's the way she treated me, like I was her little angel. And then again, she had anything I wanted, she did it. And then again, I was telling her, I said, I thank her for everything. I mean, it hurted me because we didn't get that really tight bond because something happened between me and her. But the thing is that we didn't get that bond, but nothing changed.
Right.
Was her love for me, and it was just like I took her like a mom,
Right. Right.
and knowing that my mom is alive, it's not like she's dead,
Mhm.
you know. But I took this lady like a mom,
That's
and
powerful.
and when I tried to get closer to her again, she's not understanding. It's a lot of things that I was going through.
Mhm.
You understand?
Mhm.
It was a lot of things that I was going through, and I couldn't handle it. And then again, I couldn't like talk to her the way I needed to,
Right.
because I had gave myself completely up
Mm.
to God.
Right.
And I thank God for the day, because guess what? I was that dumb one, as they could say. I was that dumb one.
Right.
I was that retarded one.
Mhm.
I was that all. But guess what? God had me to graduate, went through what I went through for a reason. He just made me stronger.
Wow, your story is so powerful, and I really thank you for giving us an opportunity.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you.
Maybe it'll change more.
Unfortunately, we are out of time for this very interesting discussion. I want to thank my sagacious panel that included Dr. Reverend Keon S. Payton, President and Chairman of the Board for the Institute of Trauma and Economic Justice, and Miss Barbara Ann Falk. But before I leave, I like to leave the listeners with this thought by Alice Little. As traumatized children, we always dreamed that someone would come and save us. We never dreamed that it would, in fact, be ourselves as adults. Again, this is your Agent of Change. I want to remind you to like and share this segment and this YouTube channel. Again, this is your Agent of Change signing off with Crack the Mic and this week's segment, Surviving Childhood Traumas, Part 2. Peace.